during the riots in 2020, they were people putting like signs on their windows of like, please don't break my thing. I'm not part of this. I don't.
Exactly.
Not only that, the government was encouraging it. You had Democrat senators and representatives saying things like, these people should be upset. They should be out in the street. They should be, Maxine Waters was saying things like, oh, you don't give them a moment's rest. Get in their faces at bars, etc. The Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, former Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, she was telling people, look, this is who you call if you want to, or she was advertising a website that would help defend people that were arrested. So she was promoting the defense fund for people that were arrested for crimes, not arrested for protesting, arrested for crimes during the protests and the riots. So the idea that there is a equal playing field between the right and the left, that's just ridiculous. It's completely and totally not true.
Yeah,
and the left need because of the way that the DOJ and the FBI are structured now, they need to come down on the people that are committing these crimes extremely hard.
There's a guy,
they are committing crimes.
His name was Daniel Clark Pounder, 24-year-old. He faces 20 years in federal prison after he allegedly firebombed the Tesla charging station, and that is from. So that's a 24-year-old just got 20 years in prison. Arguably
he's facing it.
He's facing 20 years, which is like, whoa. I get it. Maybe they're using terrorism charges. Don't get roped up in this. Don't think it's fun.
They should punish them as a means to deter other people. Unfortunately, the people that have already done these things, they have decided to do these things. This is terrorism. It's not a question of whether or not it's terrorism. It clearly is. They're doing it in an effort to intimidate and frighten people. They're destroying property. They're committing violent acts. They need to be made an example of.
I wouldn't consider it. Sorry, let me get to one point out. I wouldn't consider it terrorism if it was just random. A bunch of different cars all over the place were getting beat up. It's one company is getting targeted, which is why I consider it terrorism.
One company and the private property of individual citizens of the United States. These cars are getting keyed. They're getting firebombs. They're the people that own. Actually, no. The Tesla ownerships are actually run by Tesla. So I'll go gloss over that. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, and then the next question is using RICO on some of these organizations, right? So Antifa says, no, we're not a formal organization. Well, neither is the Mafia. The Mafia does not have a mailing address with a bunch of registered, right? These are all shadow organizations, and the job of the prosecutors to figure out what is a substantive organization here. So use that on Antifa, on whatever NGOs are currently associated with these crimes.
Pardon me?
Whatever NGOs are either pushing or funding or somehow associated with.
Absolutely.
Remember during the BLM riots, I think we had like U-Hauls full of cinder blocks.
Yeah.
Somebody paid for this.
And people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not expensive.
Right.
I mean, relative to, so let's say there's some dude who works at a big tech Silicon Valley firm and he makes $120,000 a year and he's got $10K in his bank account saved up and he says, I'm going to go spend $1,000 on bricks. I always hear people say, like, who paid for this? And I'm like, guys, it's not that expensive to do some of these things. A couple $100, you can get signs printed up.
I guess you'd have to take into account, one, how much was spent on the terrorism to get it funded, and two, how much damage was done by the terrorism after the fact, and put those two things together. Or not necessarily additive, but it's both important. Because if someone spends $100 million to try and get some terrorist event done and the event fails and no damage is done, that's not so. I mean, it's still $100 million was spent on terrorism, but there's no damage. So, like, hard to prosecute.
It's conspiracy then.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, you can absolutely prosecute for a conspiracy to commit, a terrorist act.
So the more money put into it, the more likely it would be considered a conspiracy by charge.
Well, I mean, if there are people that are planning. Multiple people that are planning, because you mentioned RICO earlier. If there are multiple people planning on doing something, that in and of itself is a crime.
So what takes to get to RICO charges? What do you need to get there? What would it, like a bunch of people on a Facebook group being like, hey, I'm not saying go out but like, is that RICO? Or like, well, what point would it become?
I imagine there may be better legal scholars here, but if you get a bunch of mafia guys who are sort of joking, not joking, like, hey, take care of him, wink. the prosecutor will be very interested in all those kinds of statements. And, whether or not it was sort of a wink statement is immaterial.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.